From the stories we are having, especially from the front pages of today, and it also, reflects happenings within the polity, especially as we inch closer again and again to the 2023 elections. This unending crisis in the PDP, for example, as reflected in today's front page of This Day, this morning, where the two sides are on extreme ends. Wiki is saying that IU should be removed. Do you see Atiku, for example, sacrificing IU to compensate for Wiki or to compensate Wiki?
Well, before I answer that, I think you guys just said today is your 1-year anniversary. So I think congratulations are in order.
Thank you very much.
Trust Television is going places within just 12 months. I think it's making inroads. And so congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
And I see some of us have greater skills, apart from writing. Also talk.
Well, we are trying to manage a transition.
So I think congratulations are in order.
To all of us.
Yes,
exactly.
to all of us. Yes,
Thank you.
Yes. So now, coming back to issues in the polity, and especially what's going on in the PDP, People's Democratic Party, and the unending tango between Wike on one hand, and of course Atiku, and well, whether IU will be a sacrificial lamb or not, I think it's just a matter of time. And I think if Wike were to look at it dispassionately, you can understand the anger and the hurt on the part of Wike, and why he thinks he is looking for a fall guy. Because it's untenable that the PDP will maintain the structure. Normally when you have a presidential candidate from the same political zone, if you like, or region, with the party chairman, at the end of it, when they go to the polls, and especially if they win, they triumph, the national chairman will have to be from somewhere else. It has happened. It has always been the tradition. I can give you instances. You understand? But you look at it now, for Wike to insist that IU must go. I think Wike wants to flex muscles to see that he controls, he has the PDP by the jugular. And to a large extent, he has. He has been solely responsible when a lot of people left the party. And this is sentiment I share with him. But you see, in politics sometimes, like they say, it's all like, they say he who pays the piper actually dictates the tune. He has been paying the piper until suddenly the owners of the party, and they are owners of the party, and incidentally Wike is not one of those owners of the party.
Oh, really?
Yes, those who formed the party. You understand? From 1998, just like some people have this grand illusion about owning Nigeria, there are people who think they actually own Nigeria. They have this larger than life, they have this exaggerated, if you like, thought about they have more stake, and they have played critical roles in the evolution of Nigeria to what it is today, for good or for bad. You understand? And if you go, the Nigerian history. So coming back to this issue, I think Wike should tarry a while. This is my own understanding. Tarry a while. IU would definitely have to go at the appropriate time. That is if the PDP triumphs at the general polls. But going by what's going on now in the party, if you like, the internal crisis bedeviling the party, chances are that if Wike continues to push this narrative, he may end up losing both ends of the stake. At both ends, because he will soon run. The more he pushes this narrative of being hurt, of being betrayed, of being, if you like, even sabotage, throwing that in all directions. Politics is about bridge building. He is burning all his bridges. He's burning, destroying bridges he has built, consciously so. First, he was looking at governors from the southern part of the country who betrayed him at the PDP primaries. He tongue-lashed them, then looked at names, specific names. And Nigerian politics, unfortunately not driven by any ideology, is a politics of convenience. What suits me? And at the end of the day, Wike may be home alone if he doesn't watch it. Already there are people, you can see a gradual depletion of his support base. And you can see the brickbats between him and some elements in the PDP. For example now, well, we know the open feud between him and Babangida Aliyu. These are specific elements who are opposed the likes of Sule Lamido. And Sule Lamido has been much of a party man as Wiki. Sule Lamido has never, even for a moment, left the PDP. He has always been faithful, a founding member. He has been in the political trenches far longer than Wiki. So I see Wiki being a little bit hasty, Usaina. If he takes his time, probably at the appropriate time, he may end up having his wish. But for now to insist that Ayu should go, yes, Ayu would go definitely, because what, like some people are making the reference, what is the PDP selling to other Nigerians? If you look at all the visible elements in the party, are from one section of the country. Just like APC is having problem selling the same faith ticket, PDP is having this perception problem that the presidential candidate is from the north, the party chairman is from the north, BOT chairman is from the north, and then some people are stretching the northernization of the PDP even to something that has not happened, like naming names as the director generals of of the campaign, which is not true. You understand? So this is it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, now some are actually saying that Atiku and Wike camps, are to meet in Abuja over, the PDP crisis, and this has actually happened. This type of meeting has actually happened, more than once or even more than twice. Why is it that they're still unable to actually, come to an agreement? And also, if you remember, last week he invited the APC chieftains to actually commission a project, projects in Rivers State. What does this actually say?
It's politics. It's politics. It's playing politics. You understand? Duque may not have the same savvy as some elements in the PDP. He may not be that. Wike is, my understanding is that he's a very down-to-earth person. Very, if you like, even pedestrian. But you see, yeah, and that's why with him, what you see is what you get. This is my reading of the man. But you see, politics, there is a lot of guile there. There is a lot of double speak. Unless you learn to read the body language, and in all fronts, Wike is coming short in the body language, non-verbal communication kind of thing. Now, bringing in APC elements to commission projects, bringing in PDP elements to commission projects. For example, recently there was this exchange between him and Bajami Amila, Speaker of the House of Reps, at the commissioner of the legislative quarters, which you must say that Wike, like somebody described him as a projects man. Yeah, he's done a lot for River State, infrastructure-wise, and he's even done more politically for himself. You understand, building these bridges across the nation, but which systematically he's destroying again by his own inability to come to terms that in this game there will be winners, there will be vanquished, and you should be gracious in victory as just as like you should be humble in defeat, not throwing tantrums. Because plus minus, how old is UK? He's still under 60. Atiku has lost elections severally. I'm not justifying the fact that they are not reaching out, they have not come to a truce. I'm not justifying that. What I'm saying is that he is coming across as a sore loser, a bad loser. You understand? But you see, coming back to this, another coming together, it's good to talk. Like they say, it's better to jaw than to war. Perhaps communication, in the first place, is communication gap that actually caused this whole thing. And the fact that people underestimated, some of the elements underestimated Wike's heart, Wike's inability to come. He's never lost election. He's a fighter, he's never, but come to think of it, how many elections has he faced beyond River State? 0, apart from the primaries. National politics is way different from local politics. Like they say, all politics is local. I agree. But you see, when you come to the center stage, so there are rumors that Atiku did not get the support of his home governor. These are rumors, but have gained traction. But not for a moment has Atiku looked in the direction of his home governor to say, you betrayed me. Because this is politics. It's a clock and dagger game. Now, coming back again, and I'm coming back to whether the meet will bring any truth. I think Wike may not know it, but it's at his status end. He's at the end very soon if he goes on like this, because this is politics. And I don't see any worst case scenario is that he rocked the boat and the PDP loses. The PDP looks very good if only it can mend and accommodate the weaker factor. And what are his demands? At the end of the day, they can resolve this issue, accommodate its interest. I'm aware, which is not public, well, at least the grapevine says that there are certain conditions apart from Ayu must go. But Ayu should go after the election. This is the argument of the PDP, that he cannot dictate where Ayu, and for the sake of national cohesion of the party, yes, Ayu should leave. But then they have their own reason why Ayu will remain till the election. So you see, either way, in conflict resolution, we are resolving a conflict, you should meet midway, okay? This is how it's going to roll. But you cannot, at the same time, yes, the weaker factor is very strong. It's very, very strong. You can't dismiss it like that. But at the same time, like I said, there are people already who are saying, look, we should go beyond him, that we can win, which is dangerous. It's a very, for the PDP to think that they can win without weaker support in Rivers. There are three major votes bank in Nigeria: Lagos, Kano. These are the two major votes bank.
So are you saying that, you know...
And then Rivers, a distant third.
Okay, so are you saying that, you know, the crisis would actually hurt the chances of the PDP winning the elections?
Absolutely. Absolutely, it would. Look, put it on paper now. Look at what are where is the support base of the PDP nation? Where is the support base of Atiku Abubakar? The Northeast? The Northeast, 6 states, is neck to neck. APC has 3 states, PDP has 3 states. Northwest, apart from Sokoto, where else? You understand? And then you come to the North Central. Where? Benue? Where else? I'm saying Benue is about the only place that has a PDP governor. But you see, Atiku has defended his voice. He said he has supported in all the parties, which is true, because he has navigated the political space for over 3 decades, since 1991 or 2, when he made his first foray into partisan politics, at least in elective post. He has maintained that close ties. And in fact, Ayu and Atiku are from the same political leanings way back in the ill-fated Third Republic. So, but if you look at it on paper, you understand? On paper, you look at it. The Rivers has consistently been PDP. Even notwithstanding that one of the leading lights of the APC, who prosecuted Buhari's two successful elections as the Director General, is from Rivers State. That is Rotimi Amechi. But even Rotimi Amechi, as tough as he is, notwithstanding he was a political ally to Wike, has not been able to deliver Rivers to APC. So yes, if you dismiss the Wike threat or challenge, you will be doing it at your own peril. That is the PDP now. They will pay dearly for it. But then look at it, where else will Wike pitch his tent? The
That's
APC?
the big question. That's the big question. And
Yes.
of course, despite all the romance
Yes.
with the PDP and APC politicians last week, it still remains a puzzle if he will take the plunge.
Yes.
But then, what a point you made about PDP's traditional support base, give rise to this pause in my mind. Like, how do you see the impact, or should I say effect, of the very swaying movement of Peter Obi in these areas that are otherwise, hitherto traditional support base of the PDP? Will it affect, how much will it affect the PDP?
Especially perhaps when you say the Southeast, for example. The South has been very faithful to the PDP all these years. It has been very faithful to the PDP. And now suddenly the PDP has not been as faithful to the Southeast, especially in the zoning or allocation or distribution of elected posts. And the APC and the PDP is hot. But look at who are the leading lights in the Southeast? They're still in the PDP. Innamani, Ikiromadu, notwithstanding his legal battles in faraway
UK.
UK. And then this other gentleman that was the PDP Senate president who ran for Ayim. These are the leading lights. These are the heavyweight of the Southeast politics. Where are they now? Are they a Labour Party? They're still in PDP. Now, Imamani only last week said, look, yes, Obi is from, but then he's in PDP. Now, the Obi challenge, the Labour Party challenge, or the Obi challenge, look at, yes, young people now. This is where you say young people, they are the ones romanticizing Peter Obi, romanticizing Labour Party. And it's understandable so. And look, we cannot just dismiss that challenge. Young people elsewhere, they are responsible for change, political change that's happening elsewhere. In Ukraine, the Orange Revolution was caused mainly by young people. The Arab Spring was fueled and fired by young people. You understand? Even in France, when Macron formed his party and upset the big weights there, Le Pen and others, you understand, it was fired by, way back even Obama actually used the Twitter to mobilize young people. Now, and that's why perhaps people are saying that maybe there is a renaissance or there is this upsurge or this excitement about Peter Obi by young people. And these young people, where are they? They are on social media, on cyberspace, on Twitter, and they articulate young and very brash. And this, if you have supporters like this, God help you at the polls. Because already they're antagonizing a lot of people, level-headed people, individuals. So how do I see that? How do I see him making impact? Yes, you make some impact in cyberspace. Because there are no polling units in cyberspace, social media. Most of the people argue rightly. And at crunch time, the old guard will rein in these young people. It has happened before. Elsewhere, when there was a referendum for Ireland to exit from the UK, until the old people rallied round. At the time, these young people, they have no consequence. They have no sense of history. You understand? The old guard rallied around and said, look, we're not going to exit from the UK. And this is how the referendum nearly, it was a close call. So I see that happening, unless, of course, there is some kind of a rebirth on the part of Wike. No, not Wike, I beg your pardon, Obi. You see, what's happening now here is that Obi's antecedents, he has ruffled a lot of feathers across the Niger. His political trajectory, he may have sound ideas, very sound ideas. He has specific ideas about the economy, about how to save cost, very good. But let me tell you this, once former head of state, military head of state, General Babangida was asked this question. I'm trying to recall the exact period when he said, look, government is not about saving money. It's about making life easy for the citizens. You understand? But you see, also government is not about waste. So there's a difference between waste and saving money. And the Nigerian government has a history of waste and so much leakages. Obi has specific ideas how to pluck this waste on paper.
Okay.
And we've been bamboozled by people speaking so grandly. But at the level of delivery, they spoke big, plan big, but deliver at the height of a pygmy. And unfortunately, in a way, Peter Obi, with his grandiose, lofty vision he's sketching all the time, maybe to the unwary, to the uninitiated, to the young people, because they don't know anything else, that may appeal to them. But at crunch time, you see what's likely to happen.
Okay, now earlier you talked about, the crisis in the PDP, if not settled, taking a toll, during the elections, on the party. Even the APC is not without, its own crisis as well. So, with, both crises, feeling both major parties, that's the PDP and the APC, do you see a third force? I don't know which of, the parties, but do you see a third force, having an edge over these two political parties? Because if you're talking about the APC right now, there's actually, a lot of anger, mostly at the fact that, the APC chairman has refused to refund money for the nomination forms. This is actually what is trending right about now.
Well, let me just say, you see conflicts. Conflicts are inevitable in any thriving organization. This is a fact. But how do you resolve that conflict is what matters. Conflicts are inevitable. They are unavoidable so long the system is thriving, is alive and kicking. Where there is zero conflict, it's a dead place. But the ability to resolve this conflict is what matters. I recall in the days of Obasanjo as president, every now and again, he would remove a Senate president at his behest. He will be removed. Then they will say it's a family crisis, it's a family affair, it will be resolved. And it will be accommodated. They have this amazing capacity, almost inelastic capacity to accommodate various interests. Does the APC have that? If it does, then this will be a thing of the past. But look at it critically. The APC is the architect of its own problems. The political leadership, the political, the chairman of the party, actually, if you like, is the elephant in the room. From the time he was appointed chairman of the Reconciliation Committee before he became chairman. At that moment, from that moment, his first utterance was that there was not going to be any rotation. If you recall, he addressed the president, said, look, he does not believe in rotation. And he walked that talk when he eventually became the chairman. How would someone with such known position, he walked that talk up to the time of the primaries? That's how the likes of Amelon were drafted into the race. And in fact, somehow shoved down the truth of Nigerians. And at least APC elements, that look, he is the chosen preferred, what's the name? Consensus candidate. Onto the likes of the governors, actually, well, credit is given to the governors, but you must also give it to Tinubu. He had anticipated that. And if you remember, days before that, the Abeokuta outburst.
Abeokuta speech.
Yeah, it was an outburst.
Yeah.
And look, he said, and then look at the response of the APC chairman at the time, that people who spoke ill of the president will be punished.
Will be punished, yeah.
So you expect now there is Tinubu emerge against the wishes of the APC apparatchik. Against the wishes. Tinubu is the man who people said defeated number 2 in the primaries, defeated number 3, and others, let me use this very word in social media, wannabes, in the race to emerge top. And his victory was foretold because the APC all along have not been able to build the kind of influence, the national leader of the party. That's the president. But you see, even at that, Tinubu was really revered as the national leader. The first time. Normally the party, the governor or the president is the leader, party's leader. But somehow, Tinubu found a way of being addressed as the party leader. It shows you that he's the real McCoy. He's the guy, the go-to guy. So how do you see reconciliation happening now with the elephant in the room, that is the party chairman? But that's aside. Yes, given Tinubu's ability to weaver, to meander, you must give it to Tinubu. Perhaps without Tinubu's influence, probably Buhari would never have been president. Of course, Buhari was a bankable project. He has consistently have 10, 11 million votes. So all he needed was a few millions from across the Niger, and then the mandatory 25%. And Tinubu came in, and even the influence on Tinubu, you could see that the difference wasn't that much. But it was said that Tinubu persuaded a skeptical elite deploying his media empire and a consortium of PR specialists. They now rebranded Buhari. We've not forgotten so soon. So Tinubu, right now, forget all pretensions. He cannot be in the good books of the APC chairman. In fact, I had expected the crowd for the APC chairman to go by now, with Tinubu now being the president. But you see, Tinubu being the astute politician that he is.
All right, so we have to actually stop you there. We'll continue with this discussion when we come back after this commercial break.
Thank you.
Jama'a ga wata muhimmiyar sanarwa, hukumar raya birnin tarayya Abuja da haɗin gwiwar dukkanin harɗawa shugabannin rigage na Fulani da ƙungiyar Miyatta Allah reshen birnin tarayya Abuja dukkaninsu suna bayyana damuwarsu akan yadda waɗansu mutane suke sakin shanu suna kiwo sakaka a birnin tarayya Abuja. Don haka hukumar raya birnin tarayya Abuja da ta kare muhalli ta birnin suna sanar da dukkanin al'umma tare da gargaɗi akan cewa an hana kiwo na shanu da sauran dabbobi da tsuntsaye a cikin birnin domin suna haddasa bata muhalli da kuma cunkoson ababen hawa a cikin wannan birni. Saboda haka duk wanda aka samu ya karya wannan doka zai fuskanci hukunci, kasancewar akwai gurin da hukumar raya birnin tarayya Abuja ta ware domin kiwo a cikin su. Don haka tabbatar ka bi doka ka kuma haɗa hannu da hukumar raya birnin tarayya Abuja domin tabbatar da tsaftar wannan birni. Wannan sako ne daga hukumar tsaftace muhalli ta birnin tarayya Abuja.
With me today is the Governor of Kano State, His Excellency Dr. Umar Abdullahi Ganduji.
First of all, I have to congratulate you, the media trust that has given birth to the Daily Trust, and now the media trust is giving another birth to Trust TV.
My guest today is the Executive Governor of Plateau State, His Excellency Simon Bako Lalong.
Thank you very much, and also opportunity, and I congratulate you for introducing the television because Daily Trust has always been my people.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
Welcome back. It's been Daybreak on Trust TV, and we've been talking to Ali M. Ali, reviewing the the political scene in the last week, and it's been we continue the conversation right about now. And Ali, if you look at these other parties, we've mentioned that you were talking about it when we went on break. The two major parties they are not without crisis.
Yes.
But do you see anybody taking advantage to snatch the baton from any of these two gladiators?
Well, what I can tell you is that if some of the projections come to pass, I don't see a clear-cut winner between Atiku and Tinubu in the first ballot that will compel horse trading, realignment. Because in the southeast now, you have an emerging force. I just said that emerging force may not translate into electoral asset. In the northwest, and especially where there is another vote bank, Kano, Jigawa, Katsina, there is also the NNPP challenge, especially in Kano. You can't dismiss that, you can't discountenance that. But in the final analysis, when the push at crunch time, it will be these two horse race, I mean. So, but you see, maybe there may not be a clear-cut winner in the first ballot, like it's happening in, what country is going through?
It's Kenya?
Kenya, you understand? So, I see realignment of forces, it will compel realignment of forces. This is perhaps what Useda is saying, a third force. I don't see that third force actually coming that together, but I may see a realignment of forces. And already there are hints now, for example, the NNPP presidential candidate, Rabiu Musa Konkoso, one time hinted that if he doesn't get it, he's prepared to work for Tinubu. He may be flying a kite, you understand? But if we get to the polls and the projections don't happen the way they should, but make no mistake about this, the two dominant leading presidential contenders are Atiku and Tinubu. That is the APC and the PDP. But the PDP is now, right now, like we said, the wicked challenge. If finally they resolve that naughty issue, and if some other people walk their talk, especially the likes of Dogara, the likes of Babachir, because they are still angry, they say they want to teach, they want to punish the APC, they want to teach them. I don't know, in electoral terms, because like I always say, politicians look at numbers. What are you, in Abuja, there are no gender, no male, no female, no kids. We're only looking at voters. This is what they say in Washington. In Washington, there are no people, there are only voters. You understand? So I see that maybe it will compel some realignment of forces, some new alliances, some new coalition, if there is no clear winner in the first ballot. That is, if there is. But if the crisis be developing, especially the PDP, continues unresolved,